welcome to my channel. This is a tarot reading for the full moon in Scorpio for May 2022. Full moons are usually about releasing. They can also be about gratitude, so a time to be really grateful for the things that you have, the progress that you've made, and where you are in your life. But this full moon really emphasizes the importance of releasing. So full moons are often a time where you can release, but since this full moon is in Scorpio, it is a really powerful time to do rituals or anything around releasing. Scorpio is all about transformations and change, so this can be a really powerful time to create some big changes and some big transformations in your life. During this full moon, you may also receive revelations as to what you need to release and the changes that you need to make, the transformations that you need to make in your life to put you in alignment with your goals, your desires, your manifestations. So this is a really great time to release anything that may be getting in the way of those things. Since the full moon is in Scorpio, we really need to look at Scorpio qualities, embrace this energy the best that we can. Scorpio encourages us to confront our deepest emotions and to really turn inward and to be our true authentic self, to really consider our soul and who we are deep, deep down, and then release what no longer feels like you, what no longer feels in alignment with your true core, your soul, your true self. Release emotions or values, mindsets, beliefs, things that are no longer in alignment with who you are. This is a really great time to release any repressed emotions, anything that you've been holding in or trying to cover up or trying to ignore. For this full moon, really work or set the intention to release these things that you have been covering and trying to hide or ignore. Release whatever is blocking you from inner peace, from serenity. What is preventing you from establishing a really deep, strong connection with your soul, with who you are? And also, what is preventing you from creating these deep connections and bonds with others? Feelings or emotions that are associated with Scorpio, so these are the emotions that you would want to release. So Scorpio can really help you release these kinds of emotions. So if you have any of these, you can set the intention to release these from your body. Paranoia, jealousy, pessimism, closed-mindedness, attachment, and resentment. So if you feel that you have any of these in any area of your life, set the intention to release these emotions. Often when we keep these emotions hidden or bottled up, we, on a conscious level, may not even realize that we have done so. And keeping these emotions trapped in our body can result in physical illness, aches and pains, health issues, and when we work on releasing these emotions, those physical challenges decrease or go away completely. So this Scorpio full moon is all about just connecting to our emotions and really turning inward and asking ourselves, what are we holding that we can release that is preventing us from being our true authentic self, from having inner peace and serenity, as well as what is preventing us from deepening relationships and the connections that we have with ourselves, how we show ourselves self-love, how we understand and are aware and listen to our body and ourselves, and as well as other people. If we're able to form those deep connections with other people, if we are able to establish that deep communication and share the emotions and be vulnerable with other people. So now that we know the energy and the vibe around this full moon, I always like to ask our familiar, the animals in our lives, some advice in what we should focus on for this lunar phase. Our animals are really in tune with energy, they are really aware, and they can give a lot of advice and support. They act like mirrors. If they're anxious or if they're having a health issue or a behavioral issue in a certain area, that's often because they are mirroring back to us what we need to see and what we can work on. They're also like sponges. They really soak up our energy and our emotions, so they can have a lot of insight into our lives and how we can create and cultivate that inner peace. And when we work on ourselves and work with our emotions, our animals will also benefit. With consistent work, you will find that your familiars will be less anxious, they'll be less fearful, they'll be more confident, and overall live a happier and healthy life. It really helps the both of us, which is why I like to ask our familiars for input and advice, because they are really here just with pure love and supporting us and assisting us. That's what our familiars do. And of course, it benefits them as well. So this month I'm going to be asking our familiars what area of our life really needs to transform, to change, and what we need to release in order to create that change. So this will be a pick a card reading. I will be using the Dog and Cat Communication Tarot deck, which is specifically designed for working with your familiars and communicating with animals. If you're interested in that deck, I'll leave the link below. I also want to invite you to join my Facebook group, Living with Familiars. If you have any insights or comments or want to share about your familiars and working with them, living with them, and if you would like assistance in interpreting tarot when you pull your own cards while working with your familiar. So get in a comfortable position and we'll get into the reading. I'm going to shuffle the cards. While I shuffle, pick a number from 1 to 3, and that will be your message. So what does our familiar want us to release this Scorpio full moon? And what area of our life is our familiar hoping to see a transformation? Is our familiar hoping to see a transformation? Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. A message for the Scorpio full moon, Group 1, 2, and 3. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Group 1, your cards are the Moon, the Two of Paws, and the Queen of Balls. Group 1, with the Moon, your familiar is letting you know that these shadows, and shadows are a large part of Scorpio, and Scorpio brings the shadows to light, which is exactly what the card the Moon does. The Moon shines light on darkness. So that is a really wonderful card to get for this full moon, because your shadows are going to be easily visible to you. The things that you need to release, which are the shadows are the things that you need to release, the emotions or the thoughts. These are internal things that you need to release. They are going to be known to you. You probably even know them already. So your familiar is saying, if you don't know them, they're clear, and you will be able to discover them quickly and easily. You can see them when you really think about it. When you tune in, turn inward, think about how your body feels, and maybe you need to meditate, maybe you need to journal, whatever you need to do to turn inward, to really think about what's going on. It will become really clear to you, and you probably already know. The Two of Paws is about considering all options and perspectives. So our familiars letting us know that there's nothing that you should say no to. So one of the kind of key words or the feelings that I mentioned in the beginning of the video with Scorpio, one of the feelings that Scorpio will help you release is closed-mindedness. And the Two of Paws is your familiar letting you know that closed-mindedness may be one of the things that you need to release. You probably aren't closed-minded in all areas of your life. Maybe there's just one thing, one area that you could be a little more open-minded in. So broaden your perspective. Consider other options, other viewpoints, other perspectives, other feelings in a certain area that you might feel a little stuck in. You should know fairly quickly which area this is. If you're unsure, you can talk to your familiar, sit with your familiar, meditate with your familiar, ask your familiar for a little more advice, for a little push, a little nudge, just to get you in the right direction. And then be open to receiving an answer from your familiar. It may not be right away, it may be the next day or sometime throughout the week, but just remain open to that message coming through. The Queen of Balls is about bravery. So our familiar is letting us know that they trust you. They trust that you are going to give them the best care possible. You're going to provide them with whatever they need in their life. They trust you. And whatever you do to them, they trust that it is for their best interest. It is for their health. It is for a quality, high quality life. For example, most dogs, cats as well, hate having their nails trimmed. It's something that if they had the choice, they probably wouldn't do. But it is best for them to get their nails trimmed. It's best for their posture, it's best for their spine, and their overall health. It's an important thing for our dogs to have done. And they may hate it, but they trust that they might put up a little fuss. They might show you that they really dislike it, but they trust that the end outcome is for the best. They may not enjoy the process, but they trust that you are doing it because it's best for them. And they are saying that they can be brave and they can endure this pain of getting their nails trimmed because of their trust in you. The Queen of Balls is also our familiar letting us know that when these things that maybe come up that we really dislike, they're challenging, we really don't want to do them, but we're brave and we step up to it and we do it and we get through it. Our familiars letting us know in these kinds of situations, so you probably have something in your own life, I'm sure it's not getting your nails trimmed, but maybe something you have to do that you really wish you didn't, but you know it's for the best. When you get into those situations, approach it with bravery, courage, and focus on the end outcome instead of the process, but also communicate about it. So our familiar really wants us to communicate with the people around us, even ourselves, our internal thoughts, our internal voice, the internal communications that we have with ourselves. Communicate positively and let others know, let ourselves know, let our familiar know what is happening. So don't just spring this nail trim on them out of the blue. Let them know maybe the day before, hey, tomorrow we're going to be trimming your nails. I know you hate it, but it's something that needs to be done for your health and your overall quality of life, and we're going to be doing that tomorrow. So your familiar can prepare themselves. And then the morning of, say, hey, remember, we've got to do our nails today. We're going to be doing it around 2 p.m. So we've got the morning. Maybe I can take you for a walk or give you a cookie before, and let them know. And then 10 minutes before, say, hey, we're going to get in the car and we're going to get groomed. We're getting our nails done. So we've got about 10 minutes. And then in the car. And then when we're getting out of the car, oh, we're here. So they have a lot of warning and they really know what's coming. And you can remind them when you warn them as well, remind them that this is fine, it's going to be easy, it's going to be quick, we're going to get through it, I'm here with you, whatever you need to say. So that's just an example of the nails, but do this in your own life, your own events or situations or things that you are finding challenging. And communicate with yourself, communicate with others, don't spring things on people. So the area of your life, group 1, that your familiar feels needs this change or transformation is an area that you've been avoiding, something that you haven't wanted to do. It might be something really simple like getting your nails trimmed, but it's something that you've kind of been dreading, and sometimes we put off tasks like going to the doctor to get a regular checkup or going to the bank, doing our taxes, things that are not fun, things that we'd rather ignore and not do. But doing this one little step is going to, our familiar suggest and is letting us know, doing this one little step is really going to open up a whole new world for us. It's going to start a chain reaction of positive changes. And these changes might seem scary, we might be dreading them at first, but remain open-minded, which again, our familiar has suggested with the Two of Paws. Remain open-minded and approach these situations optimistically, and know that you are brave, you are courageous, and once the process is over, you can enjoy the results and the benefits from whatever this process is. I hope this message was helpful for you, group 1, and you really got some insight into what you can be releasing and what area of your life may need changing or will be experiencing a transformation soon. For you, group 1, this doesn't seem to be a really big, sudden transformation, but a slow, gradual transformation with one uncomfortable event, or the challenge, the small challenge, doesn't seem like a big challenge, to set things off in motion, which will create a large transformation in your life over time. And it's up to you how quickly things unfold. When you are brave and courageous, remain open-minded, release anything that may be stopping you from being brave, courageous, open-minded, and you have this clarity, you have the knowledge, you really know what you're supposed to do. Those shadows are lit up for you and you know what to release. Your familiar is saying, just go for it, just do it. So I'll see you in the next video, group 1. Have an amazing full moon and enjoy the next 2 weeks or so before the new moon. Bye. Group 2, your cards are the King of Paws, the Nine of Balls, and the Six of Balls. Group 2, with your cards and the King of Paws, your familiar is really letting you know, reminding you to be open to all forms of communication. So that can mean body language, verbal communication, communication from people in our life that are important to us, communication from spirit guides or the universe, and communication from our familiar as well. For you, group 2, I feel like this full moon in Scorpio has a bit more to do with connecting in relationships, connecting deeply, forming those deep relationships than it does with yourself. So maybe you have already formed a really great relationship with yourself, or maybe you need to look at the relationships with other people before you work more internally with a relationship with yourself. Or you're doing them both at the same time. But by looking at the relationships in your life, you can start to gain insight into the relationship that you have with yourself, because our external world reflects our internal world. They mirror each other. So with the King of Paws, our familiar is really thanking us, group 2, for being open to communicating with them. They're saying, thank you, I love this communication, I love how you listen to me, I feel understood, I feel heard, and thank you for that. Your familiar trusts that you will always be there, you will always hear them, you will do your best to understand their needs, their thoughts, their desires. So they're really thanking you for that. And the Six of Balls is about being proud and confident of your past, of the things that you have achieved, of the places you've been, and of where you are right now, where you're going, the process. The Nine of Balls is all about enjoying the process. So these two cards kind of go together in the fact that they're both about the process, the journey, the present moment. So your familiar really wants you to focus on the present and be proud of where you are right now. You can look to the past a little bit to see where you've come, and that can help you be proud of where you are right now. Your familiar really wants you to be confident. So what can you release? What emotions or thoughts, what internally can you release to feel more confident about your process, about your journey, about where you are right now? You're not where you want to be yet. You haven't accomplished your final goal or your outcome or what you're working towards. But your familiar wants you to really find joy and happiness and pleasure in the now, in where you are right now. You're familiar with the Six of Balls is also thanking you for being a good teammate, for being a good partner, for working together. Your familiar feels that you and them are a team. You work together, you have each other's best interests in mind, and you consider each other's thoughts and feelings, and you really do well together. You work well together. Your familiar really wants you to be patient and trust that you can achieve this bond and this open communication and this teamwork, this partnership in other areas of your life. So what other relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships, family, business relationships, what other relationships, interactions with people, do you want this really open communication, this loving communication, this peaceful communication, this harmonious relationship, the kind of relationship that you have with your familiar? What areas do you also want that same magical, loving partnership? So release at this full moon, your familiar is suggesting you to release whatever is getting in the way of you feeling proud and confident of where you are here in the present moment, as well as release whatever is stopping you from having this open communication, this loving relationship in another area of your life. So maybe think about what relationships you want to improve, and then what is stopping you, preventing you from having that. And this will be something internally, so not external, not something outside of you. It'll be either a thought or an emotion. And the area of your life that is experiencing transformation would be relationships. And I feel like your familiar is really telling you that to transform these relationships, just be really proud of where you are right now. Be confident. Where can you bring more confidence into this relationship that you want to see transform, that you want to see change? I hope this message was helpful for you, group 2, and you are able to create some transformation, some changes, long-lasting changes in your relationships. Remember that you're familiar with these cards is reminding you that this will be a process. It's not going to be quick, because with these cards, your familiar is reminding you to enjoy the process. I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the next 2 weeks of this lunar phase, and I'll see you at the new moon. Bye. Group 3, your cards are the Three of Balls, the Knight of Paws, and the Fool. Group 3, with your cards, your familiar is suggesting that the area of your life that is going to have a transformation or a change is going to be in the way you communicate, the way you talk to others, and the way you talk to yourself, your internal dialogue. The Knight of Paws is about communication. It's about being aware of all different forms of communication. So that can be body language, communicating with yourself internally, communicating with your familiar, communicating with the universe, spirit guides, communicating with friends and family, and communicating in romantic relationships, communicating in business, communicating in your career, and marketing or selling yourself in all areas. And in each of these areas, you will communicate differently. So you talk differently to your familiar or to a child than how you would talk to someone that you've just met on the street. and how you would talk to someone that you are talking to for your business, and how you would talk to a friend. So there's 4 examples of different ways that you communicate, and you are going to be transforming how you communicate with everyone in all these areas. And you'll be transforming your communication style for the better, so people will understand you better. Maybe sometimes you feel like you're not heard, or your voice isn't strong, or people don't respect your opinions or your beliefs when you tell them. Maybe they aren't respecting your boundaries. You will now feel that you are able to communicate those boundaries and those opinions, those thoughts, those beliefs. You will feel heard and respected and understood. Communication is also about listening. So maybe you are the one that does a lot of talking and you're not really listening. So you will start to learn how to listen to others, how to receive information from others, whether that could even be spirit guides or the universe, or you're familiar where you're receiving messages in different ways instead of verbally. You will begin to be able to listen better on another level, understand better on another level. So you know what area of communication is weaker for you. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Some people do better talking than others. Some people do better listening than others. So you probably know how you would like to see a change and what would be the best change for you. Just know that the area of communication is where the change or transformation will be occurring. With the card, the Fool, this is your familiar suggesting that you need to release any fear. Fear is usually or commonly the root of a lot of our challenges. It's been said that there are really only 2 emotions, fear and love. So anything on the negative side or the more challenging side of emotions, I don't really like to say there are negative emotions, but it's just a good kind of term to use for emotions that are less desirable. Those emotions usually all come down to the root of fear. They all come from fear. Kind of ways to protect ourselves. So this could be a whole variety of emotions that you are experiencing, but if you focus on the fear, what you are scared of, that might help release many emotions all in one go, because that is the root. So your familiar really wants you to focus on your fear. What are you the most scared of? When you think about receiving your desires or your manifestations, what you want to occur in your lifetime, what scares you about it? There are often things that we want, but we are really actually scared to receive them, because that means we are going to lose something, or things are going to change. Our life is going to be different. We're stepping out of our comfort zone. And the Fool is our familiar, really just telling us, kind of wanting to push us out of our comfort zone, just give us a big nudge and let us fall somewhere where we don't know where we will be falling, and landing somewhere completely different. So our familiar just really wants us to push away the fear and jump right into it. And with your cards, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is going to be with communication. So think about what you are scared of. Maybe you're scared of communicating your emotions, or you're scared of being vulnerable, or you're scared of letting yourself be seen. And your familiar really wants you to release this fear and communicate, express yourself, be loud, be bold, be bright. Just let the world see who you really are, your true authentic self, without any fear. Be confident, be proud, and that's really scary, and it's probably going to be a process and not something that you can just do, wake up one day and decide you're going to do. But what little steps can you take towards being that bright, bold person that isn't afraid to show the world who they are, that isn't afraid to communicate and express yourself in the way that you want to, that is true to your soul, true to who you are. The card, the 3 of Balls, is about providing yourself and your familiar with many opportunities, having a variety of different experiences to learn and grow from. Instead of doing the same thing every day and getting bored in a routine, routines and schedules are very important for our familiars, but there also needs to be some variety, some excitement, a spark, something just a little different that shakes things up a bit in a good way, in an exciting way. You can kind of schedule in to keep this routine and schedule in something new and exciting. Take a new class, go on a walk with your familiar in a new location, explore, adventure, and bring your familiar along in something new and exciting. Your familiar's asking for something, some variety, something a little different, something a little new to explore and learn from and grow. Your familiar is asking for a new taste, something new to smell, something to try to eat that they have never had before, or to smell that they've never smelt before, to see something they've never seen before. And you can benefit from this as well. Maybe you've always thought about enrolling in an agility class with your familiar, or taking a nose work class, or teaching your cat a trick, or something that you think could be fun that you've never really done, something new that you've never experienced. Now's the time to try that, and your familiar's really hoping for new opportunities to learn and to grow. And you don't have to include your familiar in everything. If there's something that you've really been wanting to try, maybe learn how to dance or learn how to paint, something that you think would be a lot of fun that doesn't involve your familiar, go for it. Your familiar is encouraging you to do that, and that can probably help you step outside your comfort zone and maybe communicate in different ways. Maybe you've always thought about being a comedian and having your own stand-up show, and that involves communication and stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something new. Maybe now's the time to start that, to start the journey and the process of that. So this full moon, your familiar really wants you to release any fear of whatever it is, fear of judgment, fear of failing, fear of something different, fear of change. Release that, let that go. You can think of the Scorpio keywords to see if any of those words that I mentioned in the beginning of the video you resonate with. They can be tied to fear as well. Paranoia was one of the words, so maybe you're a little bit paranoid. Release that. And attachment was another one of the words. Maybe you are afraid to release something that you are attached to, but you've also outgrown it. And it's time to release it so you can bring in something new, something that's more in alignment with you and who you are. So I hope that was helpful for you, Group 3, and you have a really great full moon and the next 2 or so weeks before the new moon. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.